Hi internet people. So this is just sort of like a recent things I've read / watched that I wanted to talk about sort of video, and then I'm going to share some plans for the rest of the month. So first I thought I would do books that I have like just finished. They're over here. So I'm going to go in reverse order because I just finished this one. So I read Lisa Jewell. None of this is true. I did read it physically, no audiobook. My library just like doesn't really have audiobooks. At least not ones that you can get like digitally. They have a whole section of like physical audiobooks, like the CDs and the cassettes. And I think you can if you go on like Libby, or they keep saying I can get things through Overdrive, but the login process for those is sometimes a little goofy with my library. I don't know why. I've just run into a couple issues here and there. So just physical. So None of This Is True is a thriller where a woman named Alex, who is a popular podcaster, meets her birthday twin, Josie. Now, the entire story gets wild. Josie becomes obsessed with Alex. She convinces her that they should do a podcast together about how they are birthday twins. And it just kind of goes off the rails from there. I really can't tell you too much because it's a thriller. I will say that Josie is married, but her marriage is interesting. She is currently 45, but the man she married was 42 when they met, and she was 15. So yeah, there's a really big age gap there. So she's married and she has 2 children, and they are discussed in the story. Alex also has children and a husband. That will come up, but I'm not telling you much more. But I really enjoyed it. I like really wanted to know what was going on. And because the title is None of This Is True, you don't know what's true and what isn't in terms of Josie's story, because Alex is the person just recording that story. So all of that ties back to Josie, which is wild. I had so much fun. I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend it. I had never read anything from her before, so I'll definitely check out more of her stuff. I just was really into this. I do think the audiobook would be fun because there's like clips from the Netflix show / podcast that are created. And that's not a spoiler. The Netflix show is mentioned on the first page. So there is a Netflix show and a podcast that come of all of this. It's just very fun. So yes, I really enjoyed this. So the next one, this took me a while because it's kind of hefty. And it's super shiny. So was Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I was so into this. Like, it is massive. Yes, sorry, I'm pulling out my sleeves. It is a huge book. It's also very hefty. Like, it's a heavy book. But it follows a journalist who technically is considered like, oh, what is it? He has a specific title for him. His name's McGrath. Does it actually say? No, it doesn't. He basically lost his writing career because he mentioned a director named Cordova, who has a group of like very dedicated followers called Cordovites. And he makes these films that are really only shown in like secret underground, like bunker style things, because they're so graphic and like visceral in their content. And in an interview, he said that he thought Cordova should be arrested because he believes he's behind some very terrible things. Now, the idea is that these films may or may not depict actual events that are taking place at Cordova's compound. Like, his story could be things he's actually making his actors go through, because many of these actors sort of disappear after these films. Like, you find out that they're in a completely different field. They're doing well for themselves, but they never acted again. Or they were never actors to begin with. They were just people that Cordova employed. So we're following his really focused lens on Cordova after the death of Cordova's daughter, Ashley. Now, the death of Ashley brings in a character named Hopper, who's a younger man who says that Ashley sent him something in the mail and he doesn't know why. And, oh gosh, I'm gonna forget her name, which is not her fault. I've just read so many female names that I'm like, oh, what was her name? And a woman, who is a young woman who wants to help. We follow from McGrath's point of view throughout the story. You get mixed media elements, so there are like or newspaper articles, websites, a secret underground Cordova site, but the focus of the story is what led to Ashley's death. Was Cordova the reason for her death, and was that death motivated by something human or something supernatural? Now, you are following so many threads. So many things are happening. Black magic is mentioned frequently. There's a lot of focus on the supernatural and whether or not that has an impact on Cordova's work, if Cordova was involved in like black magic or some kind of supernatural work, and how all of this connects into the movies, his life, how he has an effect on other people. I was so invested in this, and it's one of those books that even when it ends, you're like, but I don't know. Like, it was just so good. I really enjoyed McGrath, but like, it's a whodunit, not a whodunit really. It is a mystery. So the story is very focused on like getting you through all the clues, giving you your best grasp of like what is going on. And while we're with McGrath, it's not a character piece. Like, we're not watching the development of characters. It is not the goal of the story to show us the characters really gaining new life or whatever. Though some side characters do have very happy moments that pop up throughout the story. But McGrath's story is primarily focused on Cordova, the investigation, and whether or not supernatural things are involved in this man's movies. And I had so much fun, even though this book is like, it doesn't look like it'd be that big, but it's really heavy, which surprised me. But I really like this one. All right, there's a cat running around outside my office. The next book that I finished is Bunny by Mona Awad. I've been waiting to read this book for a really, really, really long time, but I couldn't get it at my library because it was like checked out, or the request wasn't possible at the time. So I just got a hold of it. I did enjoy this a lot. I think, sadly, because I've seen so many booktubers talk about this book already, because it's been out for a while, it really has. I was already like expecting things that like happened. So I wasn't as caught off guard just because I knew so much from those videos where I just sort of like wasn't thinking about it. And I was like, oh, you probably won't retain that. But I did. I still really enjoyed it. Primarily because I love an unreliable narrator. Like, if you can give me a character who has no idea, like you have no idea if anything they're saying is true, much like none of this is true, I will eat that up. Like, I was loving the fact that I was like, I don't know what is going on with her. I don't know what she is talking about. What is happening? So I really enjoyed the fact that we can't trust Samantha. So I will say Samantha has a friend who she basically abandons because she winds up joining this group of girls called the Bunnies, who she has actively hated since she started at this writing school, but now they are friends. And we watch as the story becomes how their writing process works, what they are doing creatively, and how that may involve death. It was very fun to read. I really, really enjoyed it. There's so much like, you don't know what Sam is telling, like you just don't know if anything you're reading is real, made up, a story in Sam's head. You have no idea. There was literally a fuzzy on my nose. Delightful. There you go. Just goofy things happen when I'm filming, I feel like. Anyway, so I did really enjoy this. I just feel like I knew so much about it just from like passing booktuber videos that I've been watching, that I just like was like, oh, okay. So that unintentionally sort of worked against it a little bit, but I was still enjoying it. It's just like, if I hadn't known anything about the book at all, I would have enjoyed it even more. But it was a very fun read. I have heard Bruges isn't very good though, so I don't know if I'm going to read it or not. I don't even know if my library has it yet. Sometimes they're a little delayed on certain books. So we'll see. I might read it, I might not, I don't know. But I did enjoy reading Bunny. So the final book I'm going to mention, I just started. So don't tell me anything about it. Okay, I'm kidding. I should hopefully have it done before I start my next project. But I am currently reading Catherine House, which I really wanted to read. Also, my name is Catherine, just spelled with a K instead of a C. And so I like really wanted to read this. The story of this is that a girl named Inez goes to Catherine House, which is this very interesting institution in which you give up 3 years of your life where you're basically cloistered into the school. You have very little to no outside contact with the world, and it is supposed to turn you into an incredible person, worker, all of these things. Like, you will have the perfect life after, it seems like. But what's interesting is the school focuses on education and also revelry. So people are getting drunk, they're partying. Inez never goes to school so far, which I'm like, what? You're just like sitting around, how does that work? So far we have only met Inez and her roommate, and that's all I have so far. I am very curious to see how this finishes out. I'm literally only like 20 pages in. I just started it, but I have some time on Tuesday where I think I can knock out like all of this book. So I'm gonna read some today and a hunk of it on Tuesday, because on Wednesday which you won't see this on Wednesday, but I am going to be starting a video that I think, tentatively, I'm going to title Queerentines, and I am only going to read queer romance associated things. So far that list includes The Princess and the Grilled Cheese, Pride and Prejudice and Pittsburgh, and the Harley Quinn animated series, Eat, Bang, Kill Tour graphic novel. Now, there's going to be at least one other book, because I had debated about reading Catherine House for that, but I don't think it's going to work. It just didn't really fit the vibe I wanted. So I am going to pick probably an audiobook, because I have a few, maybe a physical book. I might do a reread of One Last Stop, because it's been a really long time since I read it. But my goal is to read specifically queer romance. And yes, those are all, I believe, sapphic, because Princess and the Grilled Cheese is, I believe it is 2 women, but I don't remember if one of them is like gender queer specifically, like officially or not. So I don't know, but I may read like a male romance, because I know I have a couple. So the idea is only queer books. Now maybe I'll throw in like a queer movie. I am going to be watching a bunch of Valentine's movies with my wife. We are doing a Valentine's-y sort of day on the 13th, and I'm trying to do a Harley Quinn themed one on like the 11th or the 12th. We have to see. She has to work on actual Valentine's Day, so I'm just doing this to the lead up on to Valentine's Day, and then I'll post it on Valentine's. And then I have plans for a video after that, where I'm going to be reading or listening to, depending, queer vampire fiction. An Education in Malice comes out on the 13th, and I'm snapping up that audiobook. I also have another queer vampire audiobook that I want to listen to, and I want to reread Carmilla. I read it last year, but An Education in Malice is based on it, so I want to read it again. So those are my tentative plans for February right now. And I'll do reading vlog stuff, because we are celebrating Valentine's on the 16th. So I do want to show some of what we do for our Valentine's Day, because I make something very fancy for Valentine's Day. I just want to show that off. So there'll be a Queerentines. I think that's the title I'm keeping. I may just find a male romance that I have laying around that I wanted to read and haven't yet, and add that. So I feel slightly more inclusive. It won't be perfect, but it's the first time. So I have that as a plan, and then queer vampires, which I'm very excited about. So those are the plans. Oh, I was gonna tell you movies I'd watched. I'm gonna add these really quick. I watched a couple of the Insidious movies, which I think I had seen an Insidious movie before, like a long time ago. I watched 1 and 3 because I couldn't find 2 anywhere. 1 was fine. 3 was cute, almost. It was PG-13, and it's really about like this girl wanting to talk to her mom, and it was just like a sweet sort of like, I just wanted to talk to my mom kind of thing. So I thought that one was just kind of like, it was fun, it was cute. I rewatched The Descent, which I have not watched in forever. If you haven't seen The Descent, it's about women who go on a caving trip. I think that's what it's called. And one of them lies and says like, oh yeah, we're totally going to this cave, and it's not that cave, and then they're all in terrible danger. And it's a wild time. What else? Oh, I watched a very odd movie. It's called Margot, and it was basically the Disney Channel original movie Smart House with murder. The CGI was weird. I don't know, like it was an interesting premise, but overall I was just like, I don't understand why this exists. It was fine. I also, final movie, I finally watched Pearl. I'd seen X, I hadn't watched Pearl, and I liked Pearl more than X. It was really, really interesting. I love this character is unhinged moment. So I really enjoyed that. Oh, I do have one more. I watched a movie called House of Darkness, in which Justin Long is a jerk, which feels like there's a horror cinematic universe where Justin Long is just a jerk who gets his comeuppance before the movie's over. But it was very slow, but it was fun. It was just like, it takes a while to get to where it's going, but I thought it was fun. Like, it's not the world's best movie, but I had a fun time watching it. Maybe really want to watch Ready or Not. But anyway, those are some movies, some books, some plans. And the next video I will post will probably be on Valentine's Day, and then I'll have another one up before the month is over with the vampire stuff. So if you're interested in the concept of queer in times, if you have a male romance you think I should read, or a specific queer romance that you think would be great, let me know in the comments and I will add it to that list and see if I can get a hold of it. And the vampire one, if you know any other queer vampire stuff, let me know. But I am pumped for my reads for the rest of this month. But I'm gonna let you go. If you want to find me anywhere else on the internet, I am only on Instagram, and I'm also Clefco Ever After, but I'll be posting some photos of like Valentine's stuff, book stuff, all that jazz. Anyway, I will talk to you later, internet people. Bye!